So welcome to the Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. In today's episode, we got an old guest. It's Nathan Youngchild. Old, not old in age, very young. And old in terms of, we spoke with him, I think it's already almost 1 or 2 years that we spoke together. And since then, there a lot have been happening for him. So back then I spoke with him and he was just about to get his company going. And now suddenly he's contacting me and now everything has been sold. And yeah, so please, Nater, tell us all about it, because I know you're a serial entrepreneur. You don't stop here. This is just the beginning, like all the other ventures you had before. So let us talk about a little bit about that. You know, who acquired you and how did you manage all of this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Omar. As you were going there, you made me think of a kind of a new theme in my life that I'm taking to entrepreneurship. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs have this goal of pure, independent financial freedom and to build the world's greatest thing. And we kind of set out on that marathon. But through being acquired, I've kind of adopted a new flavor of entrepreneurship, this idea of entrepreneurship in chapters, right? So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I think before I never gave myself the grace to close a chapter and start a new one. So it's been a theme of my life ever since the acquisition. So we got acquired by Carbon6 Technologies, a really awesome company entering into the space not that long ago, only just less than 2 years old. They've acquired a few companies, smaller ones at the beginning, and then have gotten larger and larger. They've acquired SoStock, PixelMe, PPC Entourage. What's some of the recent ones? Seller Investigators, ChargeGuard, and my company, D8a Driven.
I know them almost all, you know, so I didn't even know.
Yes, I know. It's a really an impressive group. They actually didn't come from the Amazon space. They're a couple folks from Harvard Business School who worked at McKinsey and worked in the consulting world and mergers and acquisitions. And then they combined with a few other folks that were entrepreneurs in other segments to come together. They really saw ultimately what we all saw, which was a couple of years ago. Everybody was aggregating sellers. Nobody was aggregating the tools and services that all these sellers use and vendors. And so Carbon6 saw that sliver. They raised a pretty massive Series A. I think they raised $66 million in their Series A. And went all on acquisition. So they built the company entirely off acquisition up to a point, and then now what they're doing is taking my company and other companies and improving them, auditing them, bringing them together, taking the power of multiple and bringing them into one, to kind of give a one-stop shop for sellers and vendors beyond all the disparate tools we all have open in all our tabs as we're working on our Amazon businesses. So it's a lofty goal, and they're doing a great job so far. And yeah, I'm excited to be a part of their portfolio and grateful. And you said, how did it start? For us, it started with, we were helping Amazon sellers, we were helping Amazon vendors, and the way that our machine learning worked. So we used a method called knowledge of the crowds. Basically, we had expert here, expert there, expert here, expert there, making decisions on an Amazon business, what to do, what to change. And we had a system that would record what those changes were, what happened, why did they make the change, and we'd start to cluster what the experts did when they saw this happened, so an expert did X. This happened, an expert did Y. And we could identify where there was commonalities. So that could kind of kickstart our recommendation engines about what to do with your Amazon business from an expert's perspective. And then we would use data science to audit those expert clusterings to say, well, when you change this keyword or you add this keyword to your first 70 characters of your title, or you break apart this variation or add this coupon, all the things you could do on Amazon. Was it driving the desired result? Was it driving more than the desired result, less than the desired result, something totally different? And so we started to build relationships between actions and results. And from there, we were able to start guiding Amazon businesses at a much lower cost than we were before. When I ran an Amazon agency, my cost was humans, and humans are expensive, rightfully so. They work hard, it takes a lot of time.
Sure.
but you know, while we're expensive, we also have, you know, fallacy biases around, hey, this worked for me last time, and so I know it's going to work this time, and different things like that. Whereas if you can execute action based off of data science, you can catch yourself earlier as things change on Amazon. And ultimately, again, you can bring costs down pretty significantly to get action. What should I do? You can get that. You can be answered that question quickly with data science, and cheaply compared to the cost of a human. So we started going. We're operating, working with Amazon sellers and vendors, and then we brought on an advisor, who worked in kind of statistics, data modeling world. And when he started to open our eyes up to the level of data you need to fully just let math problems make decisions, it was like we myself, my co-founder, we would have never been able to have signed that many clients. At the end of the day, the power of the platform to serve each new client ultimately was, in theory, based on the clients before them, right? The more data we have, the smarter the recommendations, kind of this network effects. And we were getting advised that we need thousands and thousands of customers using it, and we just don't have experience building a sales organization and a distribution network to reach that scale. And so in order for us to really achieve our goal of turning decision making on running your Amazon business, in theory, over to a math problem, we needed a distribution partner that could get our technology into the hands of a lot more sellers and a lot more vendors. And Carbon6 stepped up. We went through a process. So we hired a banker.
Okay.
The banker basically they got to know us, learned about our technology, our customers, and built like a pitch deck basically. And then they go out and make us available anonymously at first, to find interested buyers, and then people sign NDAs, and then we get together. And so we met with several buyers, everything from private equity groups who are wanting to get into the Amazon space, to private equity groups that already had investments in the Amazon space and wanted to kind of use us to attach to their pre-existing investment. Met with agencies, large and small, and yeah, a variety of groups. And ultimately we decided to go with Carbon6 because it ultimately, at the end of the day, their CEO's background is in building credit card signups across, I think he's in like 36 countries. And so he has just, he's very refined on building sales organizations, distribution networks, and really just scaling, getting whatever you're selling into the hands of customers. And that was really just the perfect match for what our technology needed at its core. And, you know, they had good, a strong founding group. They had just brought on a really intelligent CTO and a very experienced COO. You know, they raised a lot of money. They were only at their Series A, and so they're early, but still have money to execute. So it was really the perfect match, and we were so excited to find them in that process. Although when you get into a process, it's a very funky. You can't just tell them that you love them and you don't care about the other options, because then, you know, you lose your negotiation leverage. So it gets a little funny through that process. And so my biggest recommendation and my biggest gratitude throughout the process was having a broker. Even though they make a lot of money for a very short period of time, they have a seat that they can occupy that helps you in a way that without someone in that seat, you struggle with the nuances of, you know, you don't want to hardball negotiate your future partner and boss, for example. It's nice to have kind of that middleman to help that and to guide you. You know, they've experienced doing that nonstop all day, every day. And I built a lot of companies, but never sold one. So yeah, there you go. That's the
amazing
process.
I think it's really amazing. I mean, you said it very quickly, the process, but from up, you know, when I went back, when I was speaking to you, you were, I think you were kind of in a van where you were working out of from time to time, right?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in, you know, if you live your life as a digital nomad, you got to go all in.
Exactly.
So
this is what
I
we
got
do.
married, and now my wife joins me in the van, and we surf and snowboard and
Very good.
work away.
Amazing. We do exactly the same
Thank
thing.
God for Starlink.
Exactly. You know, that's the thing. You know, really, I appreciate to hear that. You know, because that's the only thing how you really enjoy what you're actually doing. You know, because why being held down in an office when you can actually? I mean, obviously you need to work. You cannot you
Of
cannot
course.
just, of course, but it doesn't matter where. You know, that's the thing. If you have focus time, that's amazing. So because I remember what you were saying, and I remember, I mean, I knew your software were pretty good. You know, I was looking at it, we were testing it, so I knew that it was something big. You know, and at what point, did they come? Did it already beginning to that you wanted? Did you want it to sell? Because I remember it was like that's my baby. You know, that's like because the other businesses were not like 100. It's not that they wouldn't succeed. That was not the problem. There were some, I remember there were some difficulties with partners and all that stuff. But this business of yours, this was really like your baby. You built it, and how come that you suddenly decided, I mean, that to sell it? I mean, kind of not selling it. You developing it continuously, but because, like I said, I remember it was very dear to you, and I guess that's why you're still working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the dynamics of the acquisition was, so they bought the entire company. They own the company now.
Okay.
My co-founder. My co-founder went on to something different, a passion project of his, but I decided to stay with Data Driven. So I'm still Data Driven CEO within Carbon6 now.
Okay. Okay.
So a big part of the acquisition partner was us finding one that saw value in me and was interested and willing to have me continue to contribute after they acquired us. So
Okay.
that was, money's a part of it, but that was ultimately kind of box number one I wanted to check when finding the right partner.
Sure.
And in terms of what pushed me over the edge of doing it by myself or with my co-founder to deciding to sell, it really came down to I was humbled to know that the technology I started building and, was on a track to complete building had a huge ramp up in terms of the cost for the types of engineers we needed for machine learning and data science. The sheer volume, again, like I said before, of data we were going to need. So sales organization to go get customers, to get data. And it was just outside. I really had to kind of sit with, well, what got me here wasn't going to get me there. The core competencies to take what we had to the next level, to the ultimate level, was, humbly speaking, it wasn't anything I had any experience in doing. And I grappled with, do I raise money and fake it till I make it and pretend I have this experience, and find a way, which that was definitely on the table. But for me, it was, I had asked my wife to marry me, and then COVID hit, and then my wife and I are Canadian and American, and the border closed, and we couldn't be together. We couldn't actually get married, and so I went through personal humbling activities combined with that time in my business that I think, ironically, being humbled personally helped me like wear the hat of eating humble pie with my business. And I think that kind of ultimately helped me see a new path for the business, which is, I did something great to get it to here, but let's somebody bigger, better, stronger, more capitalized, with different experiences can take it there. And I'm still motivated by my dream and my goal of handing over. At the end of the day, I built Data Driven for what we just talked about, because I wanted people to be able to go live in a van, enjoy themselves, go surf, go play soccer with their kids, be entrepreneurs, but turn over the parts that you don't need humans to run, to a system. And I still believe in that goal, regardless of whether I own the company anymore. And for now, I get to continue to contribute for however long that'll be. But now I still get to pursue and be inspired by that goal and contribute where I can. And, you know, now I'm a little bit more of a cheerleader than I was kind of the captain of the team. But you know, there's joy in being a cheerleader too.
Sure. You know, because I understand completely what you're saying. You know, at some point, our minds are exhausted, you know, like maybe don't the experience, you know, there's different things which until a certain point, like you mentioned, you know, it's going to be hard to continue without somebody being constantly at your side who actually already done it or have another knowledge or a I would not say a better knowledge, because who knows your business better than you, but a different
Sure.
knowledge, you know, in order to push your business forward. I like to bring one thing up. It's Gymshark, you know. I'm sure you know the company Gymshark.
Gymshark.
Gymshark, yeah. It's
I don't think so.
it's one of the biggest like Under Armour, you know, some of the big sports
Okay.
brands which came out recently, like in the last years. And the CEO
Okay.
was like I think 22-year-old or something like that. He built this up from zero. And
Wow.
I think when the company hit, I'm not sure if it was 10 million or 100 million. I'm not sure about that. But at some point he said, listen, I need to step down because I don't know how to run this anymore. You know, I'm the CEO, but I have no really. So what he did, he went down into the lowest and went through sales, went through marketing, and worked himself up and put a CEO in his place, which is capable to run, more capable to run a company. Although if you run a company and you get to that amount of money, you're already, in my eyes, pretty capable, you know. And then he stepped down and he learned the whole process from the start. And obviously he was upset because the CEO made some good decisions and brought the company. They hit, I think they hit already the 1 billion mark. So check
oh my
it.
gosh, I
Yeah.
gotta look this up. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Check this story out from Gymshark. Very, very funny story, you know. And now
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think he's back in the CEO position now. It's a few years later now, and he
Oh
learned his
wow.
way through. And I think I like to bring this up, like I said, because the ego of everyone who's running a company is very big, you know. So
It
and
yeah, it takes
and as you said,
it takes a little delusion.
and as you said, being humble is always something which is definitely, which, you know, which should everyone like look from outside and look at themselves, you know, how far they can take it. So I think that's a very good point what you made. And I think that's why you now as well in that position, because you're still learning again through other means. And but my ultimate question is now, where do you want to go now? What is your plan behind all of this? Is there any plan? Are you allowed to talk about that, or what is the next step of Nater?
With data driven or without data driven?
Without data driven.
Yeah, absolutely. I have kind of that. I think I'm going through that normal human cycle of desiring a nest and children and to start a family. So that is hands down what's next, kind of in my life. And I'm so excited to not be scared of it, but to be, you know, motivated and excited and encouraged and feeling inspired to step into that next chapter.
It's going to motivate you
more
even
on
more.
the personal side. Yeah. On the entrepreneurial side, you know, that's the one I can't say too much about just because I have, you know, NDAs and non-competes
sure.
and all of that jazz. But I would say I spoke to a mentor of mine. He had recently sold a company. He was the start of a roll-up. So he was the first company that brought in money, and then they went and bought about a few more companies just like his to make a large company in a particular segment. And throughout the process, he ended up kind of getting, for lack of a better word, getting screwed out of being the leader of this roll-up that he had started. And he went into pretty dark place. In his case, it was much bigger than my situation. I think the company after the roll up was worth over $1 billion, and I mean big money.
That's big, yeah.
And he likely lost somewhere tunes of 80 to $100 million based on the way things rolled out. And he went into a dark place for about 6 months, struggling with, I could have done this differently, I could have done that differently, and he was passing this guidance on to me. And ultimately, what he said was, there's kind of that old adage that it takes a breakdown to get to a breakthrough.
Exactly.
And he was like, the moment he allowed himself to realize that this didn't happen, this bad situation didn't happen to him to hurt him, but rather happened for him to enlighten him or to give him a new path or a new door to see. He's now, interestingly enough, he now sells a service back to that very company, and the service is now bigger than that whole roll up. It's a really beautiful, inspiring story. It's on the path to be. And he really inspired me with this concept of, the things that happen that you feel happen to you. Maybe if just for 5 seconds, give yourself the mental freedom to see it as it's happening for you. And so I'm trying to step into that kind of mindset and that type of energy. And I think it'll motivate me to do something even bigger and even more inspired than before.
I really understand what you're saying, because especially as well with the family aspect, it, like I said, it will motivate you a lot more. It will make you bigger. It will, like I said, it will open new doors in your head, in your mind, how to see things differently, and how to maybe even not work more, but build more. Really go deep into things you haven't done yet, which were maybe, and trust me, even if you have children, you're going to get more risky, because it's because you have to do it. That there is somewhere an end of the line, that you don't know how long you're going to be here on this planet. And when you're so you need to take more risk, even though people think like when you have children you don't take risk. Oh yes, you do, because it don't matter. You have to move. You have to move faster. You need to see what is behind the next stone, and behind the next stone, and behind the next stone. So for me, that's why I'm saying, for me, it's just the beginning of the next journey for you. And I really would like to know what it will be, and how things will be going, and how long. I understand there's contracts in place and stuff, but at some point we can really talk about that, because that would be really interesting.
Absolutely.
It would be really interesting, because like I said, it's been a journey for you already, and the journey is continuing. And now we're here at this point, seeing motivation, seeing new opportunities again. So yeah, let's catch up soon, because I really enjoy talking to you about this point. Just one last question. For you in general, I mean, we told you, we asked you already, we spoke already about it. What does motivate you in general? Part of a family, part of why are you doing all this? Because I was asked this question in a podcast 2 days ago, and my reply was, I cannot stop myself. It's just like that, even of children or not. It's just like that. So what is your motivation in this aspect?
Ooh, it's a good question. It's a tough one to nail down into a simple response.
Sure. No, you don't try to make it broad. That's fine.
Give meaning to the few years we spend on Earth, and I think for me, I started to learn a little bit about that meaning on sports fields. I think sports are a great manifestation of trying and seeing results.
Definitely.
And sometimes those results are camaraderie, or winning, or just getting faster or stronger. So it's not the result, I think, that drives us, but it's this. So for me, learning on sports fields that I can be a better version of myself when I pour myself into something motivated me. When I lost sports, just one day, just my whole my whole reference of the world was just gone. I had no walls. I didn't have sidelines anymore. I didn't have practice a certain time to be at. I read the book The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss in college. I was a lost kiddo without sports, and I read that book, and I was like, this is my next sports field. Entrepreneurship is where I can go, play and be my best version of myself, and just chase that wherever that'll take me. So yeah, I think it for me, it's just a manifestation of, I think, what's in all of us, which is trying to find our, reason for existing, and seeing how high we can take it.
Very good, very good. I really like that. It's we go into motivational talk now, and it's kind of motivating, all of this. You can just look around yourself and you can get motivated, So I think especially in what we're doing, every day when I wake up, it's like, it's a new world, it's a new adventure, it's like, yeah, well, what can I do next? It's just this drive, what every day comes up, and I really enjoy it, and I know you enjoy it the same way. That's why I really appreciate speaking to you today and hearing your opinion about everything, how everything is going. And I'm 100% sure this is not the last thing we hear about you. And yeah,
absolutely, Omar. Yeah,
let's catch up soon, Nater. And if anybody wants to reach out, speak with you about data driven or something, I will put your email address down there. We'll put the company name as well, Carbon6. Anyone interested selling the company or anything of that kind, because we have a good audience which are listening to the podcast, and maybe somebody will be interested to get in contact with Carbon6 or with you. Then yeah, thank you so much, Nater, and speak to you next time.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks, Omar.
Thank you.